The champagne cork popped just as I placed the name cards at table 7. My wife, soon-to-be ex-wife, had no idea her cruise buddy would be dining with his wife tonight. Neither did he. Welcome to Cheating Story Exposed. Real stories, real justice, no sugarcoating. You know what? I notice many of you watching haven't hit that subscribe button yet. Here's the thing, we drop stories like this every single day. Stories about people who got played, got smart, and got even. If you want to see how these situations really end, subscribe now and turn on notifications. Trust me, you don't want to miss what happens next. My name is Nathan Cross. I'm 42 years old, a software architect for a financial services company, and until 3 months ago I thought I had a solid 15-year marriage. I was wrong. But unlike most men who discover their wife's affair, I didn't confront her immediately. I didn't break down. I didn't beg or plead. I did something better. I planned. Let me take you back to where this started. March 14th. My birthday, actually. Rebecca, my wife, was a pharmaceutical sales rep, always traveling, always at conferences. I'd gotten used to it over the years. She made good money, I made good money. We had a nice life in Portland. No kids. We'd tried for years, went through 3 rounds of IVF, nothing took. Eventually, we just stopped talking about it. That night, she came home with a bottle of expensive scotch and tickets for a 7-day Mediterranean cruise. July departure, balcony cabin, the whole luxury package. Must have cost $8 grand minimum. Happy birthday, babe, she said, kissing my cheek. I know work's been brutal. We need this. Just you and me, no phones, no laptops, pure relaxation. I was touched. I really was. We'd been distant lately, ships passing in the night. This seemed like her way of reconnecting. I opened the scotch. We talked about excursions, shore activities, which formal nights we'd attend. She was animated in a way I hadn't seen in months. I thought maybe we were turning a corner, then April came. Rebecca mentioned that Trevor, her coworker, was also going to be on the same cruise. What were the odds, right? Different booking, different travel agent, complete coincidence. He'd be with some college friends. Maybe we'd run into him at the pool. Trevor. I'd met him twice. Late 30s, CrossFit obsessed, one of those guys who turns every conversation toward his protein intake. Worked in the same regional office as Rebecca. She talked about him occasionally. Team lunches, joint client pitches, nothing that raised flags, but something about the way she said his name made my gut twist. It was too casual, too rehearsed. Not a jealous man by nature. 15 years of marriage, I'd never checked her phone, never questioned her trips. I trusted her. But that night after she fell asleep, I lay there staring at the ceiling and I couldn't shake the feeling. The next morning, I did something I'd never done. I checked our credit card statements. Going back 6 months, just looking, just seeing. Hotel charges in cities where she'd claimed to stay with colleagues, always single charges, never split bills. Restaurants in Portland on nights she said she was working late. Flowers purchased from a boutique florist, flowers I never received. And then, buried in February's statement, 2 charges from the same cruise line, 3 days apart. One for $8,200, $1 for $3,900. She'd bought 2 cruise packages, one for us, one for someone else. I sat in my home office for an hour just breathing. My hands weren't shaking, I wasn't crying, I was computing, processing, running scenarios like I do with code at work, if this then that. Input, output, optimal solution. Rebecca had bought Trevor a cruise ticket. Same ship, same dates. This wasn't coincidence. This was her planning a vacation with her affair partner and bringing her husband along as cover. I could have confronted her right then, packed her bags, thrown her out, called a lawyer. But I've spent 20 years in tech. I know that moving without complete information is how you create bugs, how you misedge cases. I needed to know everything, so I became an investigator. Not because I'm naturally sneaky, but because I'm naturally thorough. I installed a call recording app on my phone that would capture any calls made on our shared family plan. Completely legal in Oregon with one-party consent, me. I set up a GPS tracker on her car using a device that looked like a phone charger plugged into her cigarette lighter. I created a separate cloud account and started forwarding copies of her emails. She'd given me her password years ago for trip planning and never changed it. Over the next month, I collected everything. Every late-night call to Trevor. Every text message that auto-backed up to our shared iPad. Every location ping when she said she was at a client dinner but was actually at his apartment across town. The affair had been going on for 7 months, since October. They'd met at a regional sales conference in San Diego. He'd pursued her aggressively. I could see it in the early texts. She'd resisted at first, then didn't. The messages were exactly what you'd expect. Lots of I can't stop thinking about you, and my marriage is basically over anyway, and he doesn't understand me like you do. Standard affair script. Nothing original, almost boring in how cliché it all was, but what interested me more was the cruise planning. She told Trevor that I was clueless and wouldn't suspect anything, that I was too buried in work to notice, that this cruise would be perfect because they'd have 7 days together without hiding, and I'd be there as the perfect alibi. If anyone questioned why she was always with Trevor, well, we all just kept running into each other. Small ship, what can you do? They'd planned excursions together, booked spa treatments at the same times, even coordinated their formal night outfits so they'd match. Meanwhile, she'd told me we should play it by ear and not overschedule. Reading those messages, I felt something I hadn't expected. Not rage, not heartbreak. Clarity. She thought I was stupid, oblivious, a prop in her affair drama. And that, more than the cheating itself, demanded a response. I called my lawyer. Andrew Zimmerman handled my business contracts for years. I told him everything. He got me in touch with a divorce attorney named Patricia Stone, 55, sharp as a blade, no-nonsense approach. Within a week, I had a separation agreement drafted, asset spreadsheets completed, and a strategy. Patricia's advice was simple. Document everything, don't let on that you know, and if you want maximum leverage, catch them in a situation where denial is impossible. The cruise, I realized, was perfect, but not the way Rebecca had planned it. I spent May researching. The ship was the Celestial Seas, a luxury liner with 1,200 passengers, 7 restaurants, multiple pools, formal captain's dinners 3 times per cruise. I called the cruise line, explained I wanted to surprise my wife with an upgrade. They were thrilled. For an extra $2,000, we could move from a balcony cabin to a junior suite, and I could arrange a special seating at the captain's table for one of the formal dinners. We usually reserve captain's table seats for anniversaries and special occasions, the booking agent said. What's the occasion? 15th wedding anniversary, I lied. I want to make it unforgettable. They loved it. I locked in table 7, main dining room, formal night 3, July 18th, 6 seats, room for myself, Rebecca, and 4 guests. Then I did something Rebecca would never have anticipated. I found Trevor's wife. Her name was Angela Morrison, maiden name Cartwright. Took me 3 hours on social media to confirm her identity. They'd been married 6 years together. For 9, she worked as a pediatric occupational therapist at a children's hospital in Portland. Her Facebook was private, but her Instagram was public. Pictures of their golden retriever, their hiking trips, their anniversary dinner last December. She had no idea. I created a burner email account, sent her a simple message. Hi, Angela, you don't know me, but I have information about your husband, Trevor Morrison, that you need to see. I'd like to meet in person. I know this sounds alarming, but I promise you this is legitimate and important. Please respond if you're willing to talk. She responded in 4 hours. Who is this? What information? I sent her one screenshot, a text from Trevor to Rebecca from 2 weeks prior. Nothing explicit, just, can't wait for July, 7 days with you. Finally, love you, Becca. My phone rang 30 minutes later. We met at a coffee shop in Lake Oswego, neutral territory. Angela was 34, athletic build, dark hair pulled back, tired eyes. She looked like someone who just had her foundation ripped out. How long have you known? She asked before she even sat down. A month, you? 30 minutes ago, her voice cracked. Who's Becca? My wife, Rebecca Cross. I showed her everything, not to be cruel, not to rub it in, but because she deserved to know the full scope. The timeline, the messages, the cruise planning, the apartment visits, everything, Angela cried. I won't pretend that part didn't hurt. Not for me, but because I knew exactly how she felt. That moment when your entire marriage recontextualizes in your head. Every late night, every distracted conversation, every time they said, I love you, and you believed it. What are you going to do? She asked after she'd composed herself. I'm going to expose them, publicly, on the cruise. I wanted to tell you first because you deserve the chance to decide how you want to handle this. They're going on a cruise together, with me. She bought him a ticket. And thinks I don't know. July 11th to 18th, Mediterranean cruise departing from Barcelona. Angela stared at me. She brought you along, as cover, so it looks innocent if anyone sees them together. I watched her process that, the audacity of it, the calculation, the disrespect. I want to go, she said finally, to the cruise. Yes, I want to be there when you expose them. I want to see his face. I hadn't planned for that, but as soon as she said it, I knew it was perfect. There's a captain's dinner, I said slowly. Formal night. I've arranged for special seating, 6 seats at my table. If you're serious, I can get you on the ship. How much? Don't worry about the money, I'll cover it. Consider it an investment in justice. We spent 2 more hours planning. Angela would book her ticket through a different travel agency, different cabin, far from ours. She'd board separately, keep a low profile during the cruise. Rebecca and Trevor wouldn't know she was there. Then on the 18th, formal night 3, she'd arrive at the captain's table in the main dining room just as dinner began. The confrontation would be public but controlled. Elegant even, no screaming, no violence, just the truth, sitting down at the table in a formal gown, impossible to deny. Angela agreed to everything. She had one condition. I want to record it for the divorce. Already planned on it, I said. June was excruciating, pretending nothing was wrong. Listening to Rebecca talk about cruise excursions while texting Trevor under the table. Watching her try on dresses for formal night, asking my opinion. While I knew she'd already coordinated colors with him, she asked if I wanted to invite anyone to join us for dinner on the ship. Maybe a couple we know? No, I said. Let's keep it just us. Intimate. She smiled, relieved. The last thing she wanted was witnesses. I confirmed Angela's booking on June 23rd. Interior cabin, deck 4, far from our suite on deck 9. I sent her the formal night date, time, and dress code. I sent her photos of what Rebecca and Trevor would be wearing. I'd seen their text messages coordinating outfits. Angela bought a dress specifically chosen to stand out. Deep emerald green, elegant, impossible to miss. July 11th arrived. Rebecca was giddy. Packed 3 suitcases, spent $200 at Sephora, got her hair done. I played the excited husband, helped her load luggage. Drove us to the airport for our flight to Barcelona. On the plane, she held my hand. I'm so glad we're doing this, she said. We need this. I squeezed back. We really do. Barcelona was beautiful. We had a day before boarding. We walked Las Ramblas, ate tapas, took photos. She posted them to Instagram with heart emojis. I looked at Trevor's Instagram. He'd posted a mirror selfie from his hotel room across the city. Pre-cruise vibes, let's go. Boarding day, July 12th. The Celestial Seas was massive. Gleaming white 12 decks, everything you'd expect from luxury cruising. Rebecca kept scanning the crowd as we boarded, trying to spot Trevor without being obvious. I pretended not to notice. Our suite was beautiful. Separate living area, huge balcony, complimentary champagne. Rebecca popped the bottle immediately. To us, she said. To truth, I said and drank. That afternoon, at the sail-away party by the pool, Trevor appeared. Baseball cap, sunglasses, tank top showing off his CrossFit arms. Rebecca spotted him and her face lit up in a way it hadn't for me in years. Oh my God, Trevor's here. What are the odds? She grabbed my arm. We should say hi. We walked over. Trevor acted surprised. Rebecca, Nathan, no way, small world, we chatted. He introduced us to his friends. 2 guys I'd confirmed through social media were real college buddies providing cover. They seemed nice. Oblivious. They had no idea their friend was using them as a fair camouflage. The first few days of the cruise were torture. Watching Rebecca sneak off to explore the ship and return an hour later, flushed and happy. Watching Trevor at the pool, catching her eye across the deck. Watching them coordinate their shore excursions so they'd coincidentally end up in the same tour groups. I played my role, distracted husband, buried in a book, taking work calls despite it being vacation, giving her space. Meanwhile, I confirmed Angela was on board. She texted me photos from her cabin. This is surreal. I saw him at the buffet this morning. He didn't notice me. Stay hidden until the 18th, I replied. Let them get comfortable. By day 4, Rebecca and Trevor were getting sloppy. I watched them from a distance at the port in Naples. They held hands for 30 seconds before remembering to let go. They laughed too loudly at each other's jokes. They disappeared during a museum tour and returned 20 minutes later, her lipstick smudged. That night, Rebecca suggested we skip dinner. Order room service? I'm exhausted. Sure, I said. You rest, I'll grab something at the buffet. I wandered the ship instead, found a quiet bar, ordered a whiskey, checked my phone. Angela had sent me a photo of Trevor and Rebecca on deck 7 standing close, talking in whispers. Tomorrow night, I texted back. Be ready. July 18th, formal night 3. The night everything would come together. I woke up calm. Rebecca was nervous, fussing with her hair, changing dresses 3 times. She'd settled on a navy blue gown that matched the tie Trevor would be wearing. I knew because I'd read their messages. You look beautiful, I said honestly. She did, which made it worse somehow. Thank you, babe. She kissed my cheek. I'm excited for the captain's dinner. How'd you swing that? Anniversary surprise, I said. Pulled some strings. We're not sitting with anyone weird, right? Just us and a few other couples. Should be nice. At 6 p.m., I put on my tuxedo. Checked my phone. Angela texted. I'm ready. Where exactly is the table? Table 7, main dining room near the windows. Look for me. I'll be the one with the cheating wife. See you soon. Green dress. Can't miss me. At 6:45, Rebecca and I arrived at the main dining room. The space was stunning. Crystal chandeliers, floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the Mediterranean sunset, tables draped in white linen. A pianist played soft jazz in the corner. The maître d' greeted us. Mr. and Mrs. Cross, right this way. Your captain's table awaits. He led us to table 7. Prime location near the windows, slightly elevated. 6 place settings, 6 chairs, 6 name cards. 2 said Nathan Cross and Rebecca Cross. 2 said Trevor Morrison and guest. 2 said Angela Morrison and guest. Rebecca didn't notice at first. She was too busy scanning the room. Then Trevor appeared, wearing the navy tie right on schedule. He saw us and walked over, grinning. Captain's table, you guys are fancy. He sat down across from Rebecca, exactly where his name card was placed. Rebecca beamed. This was working perfectly for her. Her husband, her lover, a romantic dinner, all under the guise of coincidence. Where are your friends? I asked Trevor. They bilayed, wanted to hit the casino. He shrugged. Guess I'm crashing your dinner. Not at all, I said. Actually, we have 2 more guests joining us. Rebecca's smile faltered. We do? Yeah, I invited a couple. Thought it'd be nice to make new friends. You didn't mention. It's a surprise. You'll like them. The pianist finished a song, started another. The room filled with other formally dressed passengers. Waiters poured water. The energy was festive. Celebratory. Trevor and Rebecca kept making eye contact. Little glances, secret smiles. They thought they were getting away with it. At 7 p.m. exactly, Angela appeared. She walked through the entrance in that emerald green dress, hair professionally styled, makeup flawless. She looked like she owned the room. Every head turned. She was stunning. Rebecca noticed her first. Wow, that dress is gorgeous. Then Angela walked directly to our table. Rebecca's face went confused. Trevor's went white. Angela stopped at Trevor's chair, looked down at him, smiled. Hello, honey, she said. Surprised to see me. The words hit like a grenade. Trevor stood up so fast his chair fell backward. Angela, what are you doing here? I was invited. She turned to me. Nathan, thank you so much for arranging this. You were right. This is perfect. Rebecca looked at me, then at Angela, then at Trevor. Her brain was trying to compute. Nathan, who is this? She asked slowly. This is Angela Morrison, I said calmly. Trevor's wife. Angela, please sit down. You too, Trevor. Let's all have dinner together, like the happy families we are. Angela sat down next to her husband. Trevor remained standing, face drained of color, mouth opening and closing like a fish. Sit down, Trevor, Angela said quietly. We're at the captain's table. Don't make a scene. He sat. Rebecca was still staring at me. I don't understand. Nathan, what's going on? What's going on, I said, keeping my voice level, is that for the past 7 months you and Trevor have been having an affair. You planned this cruise together, bought him a ticket with our money, and brought me along as cover so no one would question why you were spending so much time together. You thought I was too stupid to notice. I noticed. The table went silent. The pianist played on. Other diners laughed and talked, oblivious to the bomb that had just detonated at table 7. Rebecca's face went through several expressions. Shock, denial, panic. She opened her mouth, closed it, looked at Trevor for help. Trevor was frozen. Staring at his wife. Angela, I can explain. Explain what? Angela's voice was sharp. Explain the 7 months of texts. The apartment visits, the I love you Becca messages. Please, I'm dying to hear the explanation. Becca, Rebecca whispered. You told her about. I told her everything, I said. Every text, every lie, every time you said you were working late and you were at his place, every time you kissed me goodnight and texted him 5 minutes later, everything. A waiter approached with menus, read the room, backed away slowly. Nathan, Rebecca reached for my hand. I pulled it back. Don't, we're done. I filed for divorce 3 weeks ago. You'll be served when we get back to Portland. Patricia Stone is my attorney. You know her reputation. I've documented everything. The affair, the financial infidelity. You used marital funds to buy your affair partner a cruise ticket. That alone is going to eviscerate you in court. Her eyes filled with tears. You can't. We can fix this. There's nothing to fix. You killed this marriage. I'm just handling the paperwork. Trevor found his voice. This is insane. Angela, let's go somewhere and talk privately. No. Angela didn't raise her voice. Didn't need to. We're staying right here at this table for the entire dinner, because I want to watch you sit across from your affair partner and realize that your entire life just collapsed. I want you to feel exactly what I felt when Nathan showed me those messages. I want this to hurt. Trevor's jaw clenched. He looked at Rebecca, some silent communication passing between them. She was crying now, mascara running. How did you even know I'd be here? Trevor demanded. I invited her, I said. Paid for her ticket, booked her cabin, arranged this entire dinner. You two have been planning this cruise for months, so have I. The difference is my plan actually worked. The captain himself appeared at our table, an older man with silver hair and a Mediterranean accent. Mr. and Mrs. Cross, welcome to my table. I hope you are enjoying your... He noticed the tension, the tears. Fury, is everything all right? Everything's perfect, I said, standing to shake his hand. Captain, thank you for having us. My wife and I are celebrating our 15th wedding anniversary. Well, technically our last anniversary since we're getting divorced, but these two lovely people, I gestured to Trevor and Angela, are helping us celebrate. Trevor is my wife's affair partner, and Angela is his wife, who he's been cheating on, so it's really a multi-couple celebration, very special occasion. The captain's face went through a remarkable journey. Confusion, understanding, horror. He backed away. I see, I'll leave you to your dinner. He fled. Other tables were starting to notice. Whispers spread. Phones came out. This was exactly what I wanted. Public, undeniable, no shadows for them to hide in. Rebecca stood up. I'm leaving. Sit down, I said, my voice harder than I'd ever used with her. You wanted this cruise. You planned for months. You dragged me across the Atlantic to be your alibi while you fucked your coworker in the cabin I paid for. You're going to sit here and face what you've done. She sat, crying harder now. Nathan, please, tell me something, I interrupted. Did you ever love me at any point in these 15 years? Was it real? She couldn't answer, just sobbed. I turned to Trevor. What about you? Was it worth it? Your marriage, your reputation, your wife? Was my wife worth all that? Trevor's hands were shaking. Wasn't supposed to be like this. We were going to tell you both eventually, after the cruise. You were going to leave your wives and ride off into the sunset. Angela laughed bitterly. Trevor, you told me 2 months ago you wanted to start trying for a baby. You looked me in the eye and lied. I didn't know how to tell you. So you didn't. You just kept fucking her and pretending to be my husband. The words were brutal, necessary, true. A waiter brought bread, set it down, left. Immediately, I think we're done here, Trevor said, standing again. Angela, we can talk later. Sit down, Trevor. I didn't raise my voice, didn't need to. You're going to stay, because if you leave this table, I'm going to the ship's security with evidence that you've been using a cruise you didn't pay for under fraudulent circumstances. Rebecca bought that ticket with marital funds without my knowledge. That's theft. I'll press charges. It was a bluff, probably, but Trevor didn't know that. He sat. For the next hour, we sat at that table, the four of us. No one ate. Waiters brought courses that went untouched. Rebecca cried silently. Trevor stared at his plate. Angela sat rigid, composed, dignified in her fury. I sat calm, watching. This was exactly what I'd planned. Not violence, not drama, just the simple, devastating power of truth. Other passengers whispered and stared. The story would spread through the ship by morning. Their vacation ruined. Their affair exposed. Their marriages over. Eventually, Angela stood. I'm done. Trevor, I'll be filing for divorce when we dock in Barcelona. Don't contact me. Don't come home. Your things will be in storage. She walked away, head high, emerald dress flowing. Rebecca looked at me. Nathan, can we please talk privately? No, I made a mistake. You made 1,000 mistakes for 7 months. This wasn't a mistake. This was a choice. Every text, every lie, every time you came home smelling like him and crawled into bed next to me, those were choices. What do you want from me? Nothing. I don't want anything from you anymore. That's the point. I stood, dropped my napkin on the table, looked at Trevor. Your friends might want to know why you really invited yourself on this cruise. I'd tell them before someone else does. I walked away, left them there together. Alone, exactly what they'd wanted, just not like this. I went back to our suite, packed my things, requested a cabin change. The cruise line was surprisingly accommodating once I explained the situation. They moved me to a different deck, no charge. I spent the last 2 days of the cruise alone. Read my book, watched the ocean, felt nothing, not heartbreak, not rage, just clarity. Angela and I met for coffee on the final morning. She looked better, rested, determined. Thank you, she said, for telling me, for including me, for not letting them get away with it. Thank you for being brave enough to show up. What happens now? Now we go home and rebuild, separately, better. We exchanged contact info, promised to stay in touch. 2 people bound by betrayal, finding something like friendship in the aftermath. When we docked in Barcelona, I saw Rebecca and Trevor disembark together, separate from his college friends, separate from me. They looked miserable, exhausted, exposed. Good, I flew home to Portland. Angela was on the same flight, different cabin. We didn't speak, didn't need to. The divorce papers were served to Rebecca 3 days later. She tried calling. I didn't answer. She sent emails. I forwarded them to Patricia. She showed up at the house. I had the locks changed. Patricia Stone was as good as advertised. Within 2 months, we had a settlement. No-fault divorce, 50-50 split of assets, except Rebecca had to reimburse half the cost of Trevor's cruise ticket from her share. A small victory, but satisfying. Trevor and Angela's divorce was messier. She'd been the primary earner. He'd been building his career. She took him for everything, and I cheered her on from the sidelines. Rebecca tried to continue the affair with Trevor after everything imploded. It lasted 6 weeks. Turns out when you remove the excitement of secrecy and betrayal, affairs don't have much substance. They broke up over text. Mutual decision. Nobody's fault. Pathetic. Last I heard, Rebecca moved to Seattle. New job. Started over. I don't know if she ever understood what she lost, or if she just sees herself as a victim of bad luck. I don't care enough to find out. Trevor got demoted at work after HR investigated the affair, company policy violations, hostile work environment concerns. He moved to Denver, presumably to start fresh where no one knows his story. Angela met someone new, a PE teacher at her hospital's partner school. Sent me a photo of them at a Trail Blazers game. She looked happy, genuinely happy. The kind of happy you can only get after burning down everything fake and rebuilding with truth. As for me, I'm doing well, better than well. I bought a condo downtown with my half of the house sale. Floor-to-ceiling windows, view of the city, space that's entirely mine. No ghosts, no memories of who I used to be when I was married. I started rock climbing, joined a gym, made new friends, started dating someone from my office, Amanda, a project manager, funny and sharp and honest. We're taking it slow. I'm in no hurry. The story of the cruise spread through Portland's social circles like wildfire. Rebecca's family stopped speaking to her. Her friends sided with me. Trevor's college buddies, the ones who'd been on the ship providing cover, publicly cut ties with him on social media. The court of public opinion delivered its verdict. They were selfish, they were caught, and they deserved exactly what they got. People ask me if I regret how I handled it, if the public humiliation was too much. If I should have been more private, more discreet, my answer is always the same. No, they had their affair in the shadows. They lied in private. They betrayed us quietly, thinking they'd never face consequences. I simply brought it into the light. I didn't yell, didn't hit anyone, didn't destroy property or send revenge emails to their employers. I told the truth. In public, at a dinner table, with witnesses. If that felt like too much for them, maybe they shouldn't have done it in the first place. The truth isn't cruel, it's just true, and sometimes the truth sitting down at the captain's table in a green dress is the most powerful revenge you can design. I'm 42 years old. I've been divorced for 8 months. I'm rebuilding a life that's honest, intentional, and entirely my own. I sleep well at night. My conscience is clear. Rebecca and Trevor wanted 7 days together in paradise. They got it, just not the way they planned, and me? I got something better, freedom, dignity. And the satisfaction of knowing that when someone betrays you, you don't have to break down and beg. You can plan, execute. When that cruise cost me $10,000, counting Angela's ticket and the upgrades, best money I ever spent. Justice doesn't always come from a courtroom. Sometimes it comes from a dinner table at sea where the truth finally has a seat, and when the truth sits down, liars stand up and run. I let them run. I stayed in my seat, finished my drink, watched the sunset. And I've been watching sunsets ever since from my condo windows with someone who deserves my time. If you're going through something similar, if you've been betrayed, lied to, made to feel small, hear this: you're not powerless, you're not weak, you don't have to scream or break things to make your point. Sometimes the strongest move is the quietest one, the strategic one, the one they never see coming. Plan carefully, document everything, execute perfectly, and when the moment comes, let the truth do the talking. It's the loudest voice in the room.